What's up, everyone? Jdog here for the Balding Plebs on YouTube, and today we're discussing Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm going to provide you with a few of my initial impressions for the game after, a pretty busy weekend of playing. Probably around 10 to 12 hours in total is what I've got on the game so far. So, for those of you that aren't familiar, this is the sequel or prequel to Red Dead Redemption from Rockstar Games. Now, this game takes place in 1899, and yes, it's Red Dead Redemption 2, but it is a prequel storyline-wise to the first game. And so basically, without giving too much away, you're going to play here as Arthur Morgan, part of the Vanderlyn gang, and you're basically an outlaw. And, well, long story short, it's a boatload of fun. So, let's get in here and let's talk about what we've got going on in this game. And let's start off by talking about some of the positives here. And I think you can tell right away from looking at some of the footage before us here that this is one of the most incredible, spectacular, interesting, vivid worlds ever put before us in the history of games. I think you can make a statement like that and be pretty confident in its accuracy. It is spec-freaking-tacular. And not only that, it's huge. It's like it's got different biomes. It's like if you literally were traveling along in the Wild Wild West and you wanted to go mountains, valleys, rivers, lakes. I mean, it is amazing. The detail in this world is spectacular, right? The trees, the weather, right? The animals and the wildlife, and the way all of it seems to respond both to the world around it and to your character and to other characters in the world is really something spectacular to witness. The game is worth playing for that aspect alone. The world here is its own character. And I say that because in so many games, you feel like the world is your playground, right? And it exists solely for you to do what you came to do in it. And then you leave, and then that's the end. In this game, the world exists on its own, right? And you are participating in it, but things are going to occur in it regardless of whether you're there or you're making certain actions. And so this world feels like the most true to life world that we've ever played in. And I love it. Absolutely love it. You've got some incredible voice acting here. Every line of dialogue is voice. Each character gives their own inflections, right? And each of these characters that you meet seem pretty damn real. I mean, they're tangible. And the emotions that they evoke are really interesting, right? It's not good, bad, and that's it. You've got many, many characters with shades of gray. The character you play, Arthur Morgan here, can be played in many ways. You can play him as the outlaw with a heart of gold. You can play him as a stone cold killer. So you've got so many different ways to interact with the world around you. And not only that, but how you interact with it affects how others interact with you. And it's a really neat system that keeps it interesting at all times. There's some different things going on behind the scenes in this game. Like there's an honor system, right? That's kind of goes up when you do honorable things, or goes down when you do things that are less than honorable. And the way your character is perceived and the way people react to you is based upon that level of honor. I like what you're seeing here is experience being, so many RPGs, everything you do, 5 experience, 10 experience. You level up, you increase a stat, right? That's RPG 101. And in this game, I think, one of the things I was talking about as we were getting ready for this is how is this game pushing the genre forward, right? Or how is it changing how we see open world games? And we've got so many of these systems, whether it's the honor system or the experience system, working behind the scenes and kind of in the background of all this stuff that's happening. And yeah, sure, every once in a while something pops up and says, hey, this level increased by, from 4 to 5 or this or that. But you don't really go around increasing stats and things like that for the most part. It kind of just happens as you play. And so this game does a really nice job of not taking you out of the action and not taking you out of the immersion. And I really like that and appreciate that. And that's something I hope games will embrace more and more as we move forward, especially as we start looking to the next series of consoles. I know we're kind of already discussing PS5 and different things, but this game really keeps you focused on, not necessarily the numbers game, right? Like so many games seem to get bogged down in. It just keeps you more focused on playing and interacting. And by playing and by interacting, your character is growing. You're learning, you're experiencing, and then more and more interactions happen off of that. So it's almost as though experience in this game is the experience of playing it, if that makes any sense. Just as experience is the best teacher in the real world, you can kind of extrapolate that to what's happening here in this game. And I really, really like it. It's subtle, it's behind the scenes, but it really makes for an interesting experience. And one that, again, keeps you in the game, not playing the numbers, upgrading stats, and worrying necessarily about things like that. Now, of course, not to say that there's not certain guns that are better than others, certain horses that have better stats than other horses. There is some of that going on. But it just doesn't have near the amount of it as you're going to see in some other open world RPGs. So speaking of horses, let's talk about the horses here a little bit. This is almost like having a sidekick, if that makes sense. Your horse in this game is your lifeblood. It's your transportation, but it is the character that you spend the most time with. And Rockstar has created this incredible system of bonding, where each horse you find is its own entity, right? And so you might go and lasso a horse or find a horse in the wild, and you've got to spend some time kind of calming it down, getting it to listen to you, and you've got to start forming a bond with it. It will not just be a, rip, roaring, ready to go horse that you can just jump on out in the middle of a field and go use. And horses can die, and not just die, but die permanently. And so they've really made the horse, which in most games are just, basically a transportation piece, they've actually found a way to make the horse a living, breathing sidekick. It stores your inventory. It has its own health and stamina. It has its own, nuances, right? It might get panicked by, a predator or something, and you need to calm it down, or it might buck you off and run away. So the system in this game for horses, for any of you out there that are really, very into equestrian, different, some of the nuances with horses. This is probably the best I've ever seen, as far as really, taking that part of the game and making it really, something that you have to focus on, just like you would in real life, right? A horse needs to be cared for, and you have to care for your horse in this game. And it can be a simple thing like just patting it and telling it it's doing a good job. But you're also going to need to brush it and feed it and, hitch it when you go places so it can recover its stats and different things like that. So they've really done an excellent job with the horses in this game. And there's lots of them too. And you can find many, many of them and have many of them. So it's really very, very cool. A very neat part of this game. And a major positive for this game. You want to talk about other things that keep you immersed, right? The way you look, the way you smell in the game, the way you act and dress, the way you talk and the way you greet people affects their reactions to you. I mean, so you want to talk about a deep, immersive conversation system. This game, again, goes far above and beyond anything I've seen. And it just creates this world that literally feels like it's unpredictable. And I think that single thing keeps me playing this game more than any other. I just don't know what's going to happen next. And when I think I do, something else happens. And so there isn't, it's almost a game that changes as you play and can't necessarily be quantified. And there is something very magical about that. So I will say without a shout of a doubt that this world that you get to play in is the best world that's ever been created. And it is one that I hope all of you will have an opportunity to experience, because it is that damn awesome. I'll also give a positive to the combat in this game. I like it. I'm not going to say I'm great at it, but I like it. It makes you feel like a badass. There's like the Deadeye system that's coming back from the other games. And yeah, you walk up, you slow down time, you pick your shots, and you blast some of them fools, and loot their dead bodies, and off you go. And yeah, it makes you feel like a pretty badass. And then you go and you juxtapose that, right, which is a really intense shootout, with the opportunity to go up on a ridge in this game during a beautiful moonlit night, set up a camp, sit down and smoke a cigar and drink a whiskey, all by yourself out in the middle of nowhere. And again, this game does an incredible job of creating a moment like that, which is a peaceful, serene moment in a beautiful world. So I think, again, this game uses this world that it creates better than any other I've ever played. And you can have this incredible, evil fight to the death. And then you can have a wonderful scene where you just chill. And it really adds so much to the experience that you don't have to be fighting every second in this game. You don't have to be anything every second in this game. And I really, really like that. When games let me kind of choose my pace. And there is a deliberateness to this game. And a deliberateness to the pacing in this game as well. And for me, it's been a little bit of an adjustment. I'll admit it. Because I'm coming to this game from Spider-Man. Which plays almost exactly the opposite. Spider-Man's movement is kinetic, and it's quick, and it's fast, and you're flipping around in there like a Cirque du Soleil performer coming out of an AA meeting. And in this game, everything is just slower. And initially, I was a little bit unsure how I was going to feel about that. Because your character moves with like this weight to him, right? He just goes. And in camp, he really doesn't move much faster than this, what you're seeing right here. And yeah, he runs if you want him to when you're out in the world. And your horse kind of moves. But the world is so big that, yeah, it takes 5 minutes to get where you want to go a lot of times. But the pacing works for the game. And it says, hey, you're not going to rush from point A to point B. You're gonna see this place, you're going to see this world, and you're going to see what's happening in it. Because we want you to experience some of these little encounters that you might meet along the way. And that's where I'm actually having some of the most fun in this game. Is that from mission A, or point A in mission, going to a mission, right? Along the way, along the drive there, I'm meeting random strangers who maybe they're getting attacked by a wild animal. Maybe they're in a fight with a gang. Maybe they've broke down on the side of the road. Whatever it is, there always seems to be something occurring in the world around me. Now, I certainly have the opportunity to choose to pursue it and take care of it and, investigate it, or I can drive by it, without a care in the world. But it gives me an opportunity to really see this world that's been created. And so initially I was a little bit unsure of the pace, right? Thinking, oh my gosh, everything moves so slow. I don't know if I'm going to like this. But the more I play, the more I'm like, yes, this is correct. This is what I want. Because every time I take a ride on my horse, I've got an opportunity to engage with the world. And for me, that's been some of the most rewarding parts of it. Now, that doesn't mean the game is without a few annoyances for me. And it does have a few things about it that make me kind of, go, I wish that hadn't happened when I'm playing it. Let me tell you about a mission that happened to me. I'm riding around and I meet this guy, right? And he wants me to lead him to the next town. He's afraid to go there for some reason. I can't quite remember why. So I said, okay, I'll lead you in there. And then he starts talking to me. And I go to turn my horse around, and I run into him. And he gets scared off. And he runs away. So I was like, ugh. I didn't want that to happen, obviously. I didn't want to run into him with the horse, but I guess, get good, right? But I did. And so he made, it created this moment where, I don't think I've ever seen that in any other game. And maybe that's just exactly what Rockstar is trying to do here. They're trying to say, hey, this isn't going to be like any other game. This isn't going to be like a game where you just, go through the motions, right? And I accidentally, turned my horse into this guy, and he got messed up, and he ran away. And so I missed my chance at whatever he was going to say, or if he was going to point me to a abandoned house, or if we were going to get into a gunfight, or whatever was going to happen. I missed my chance at it. So it did make me kind of a little angry, much like it would have in real life if I had missed the opportunity. So for those of you watching this out there, I want you to understand the way that this game reacts to you. And I can't stress it enough. And I think for those of us that have played a lot of games, there's going to be a moment like that for a lot of us where we're going to initially go, oh, damn it, that isn't what I wanted to happen. And I'm kind of upset that it happened. But then you're going to say, wait. And as I was thinking about this throughout the day here today, I think of it and I'm like, I guess I haven't had that happen to me in a game. Maybe that's okay that it happened, right? There's going to be other opportunities out there. And maybe this is kind of okay that this happened. And so the more I think about that occurrence, the more I'm like, damn. I guess it's kind of a new way. And so you've got to be able to roll with the punches in this game. And yeah, sometimes your side quests are going to disappear, even as you are going to them. I've had that happen to me. Whether it's because I waited too long, or I didn't get there in time, or the time of day, whatever. The guy or the quest giver is gone. And so yeah, I just wasted like 2-3 minutes of my life going there. And for nothing. And again, it kind of initially is like, I can't believe that. It's a little frustrating, But then it's just like, yeah, that probably would be how things are. And so again, if you can handle the pacing, if you can handle some of the initial frustration, I think you're going to be able to understand and you're going to be able to see how the world lives and breathes around you. And that's really the strongest part here. And it's something I really think everyone should experience. I will say that I do feel that if you are going to buy this, you need to be able to dedicate to it. I don't think you're going to get the most out of this experience if you just want to beeline from quest to quest. I think that's missing the point of what's trying to be created here and trying to be, shown here. And so I implore you that if you are still on the fence about this game and still thinking, hey, is this something I should get, that you maybe clear your game calendar for a little bit and say, okay, I want to focus on Red Dead 2. And if you can do that, and if you can have that mindset, I think you're going to really have a spectacular experience with this game. I know I am. I mean, you can look at the scenery here before you, and there is just something sublime about riding out into that world and just saying, what's going to happen next? Even if I'm not necessarily on my way to a mission, what's going to happen next? It's been a spectacular experience for me so far. I said this was probably the only game that would unseat Spider-Man as the game of the year. I can't officially say that yet because I haven't completed enough of the game, and I don't wanna jump the gun, but I am leaning toward it. The game so far, I would give a high 9, probably a 10. I want to play a little more here, just to get my head around the story a little bit more before I make any final comments on it. But from what I have experienced so far, it's one of the most courageous undertakings that I've seen in gaming. Because I have not played in a world that has been this responsive to what you do in it. So I really hope that you, if you're still on the fence about this, you've watched this video, you've kind of gotten a little bit of a understanding here of what to expect. I would say that you should probably try to be able to dedicate to this game if you're going to pick it up. This isn't really a game you can go and play 10 minutes at a time. You need to be able to dedicate some time to it to really get a lot out of it. But if you're able to do that, if you're able to give it your attention, you are going to have an incredible emotional experience. So I want to thank all of you for watching. I will be providing a full review for this game when I complete it, which I don't want to promise when that's going to be because I am going to take my time and enjoy it. I do recommend that you pick this up, and I do recommend the game to just about anyone, especially to fans of open world games, obviously fans of the first game, and to people who really like interesting worlds with great characters. That's where you're really getting an incredible experience here. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jdog with the Balding Plebs giving initial impressions on Red Dead Redemption 2. For those of you that have played it, I'd love to know your thoughts on the game. I'd like to know what your experiences have been within the game, and what interesting parts have you seen, or what's been your favorite moment so far. And we'll see each and every one of you right here next time for more content like this. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, GG, ya plebs.